Hello and welcome to our view from Series. We are at Swift Business Forum London and I'm joined by Harry Newman, who is the head of banking for Swift. Thank you for joining me. Harry, you're going to moderate a panel discussion later on today talking about cross payments. What are the key challenges there?
So cross-border payments, key challenges there is for our clients, for our banks we provide services to, in turn provide service to the market, are two things really. One is a lack of predictability, and secondly a lack of transparency in how those payments work today. It is not a straightforward process to make payments internationally. There are 200 jurisdictions in the world and many thousands of banks. So to make a payment to everybody in the world is not straightforward. But today what we have is a service that was invented 30 years or so ago. And in this digital age that's not really good enough to serve the market.
So you need to keep up technology, keeps on improving. There are new, obviously, technological solutions coming to the market. Competition also is increasing in this space. And on top of perhaps a different paradigm that we are all following in terms of international trade and obviously trade flows, the cross-border payment system needs to keep up.
That's right.
So what does this mean for banks trying to transfer payments across borders and considering all of these new environments?
So what we disagreed with a group of banks about 18 months ago, there was a time for change in the face of the technological advancements which give us an opportunity actually to do something about this for their clients. What we agreed with them was we would build a new GPI, Global Payments Innovation, and what that brings is the two most important things is predictability. So we bring to the client end a predictability of how long their service will take, and then we bring transparency of both location, so I can track my payment, and of fees. What has happened and what fees have been taken from the payment and what the fee level will be. And we do that in two ways. We don't want to reinvent all those back offices. The reinventing thousands of back offices will take many years to do with. But we do have the ability with the banks to do two things. One is the banks agree a very strong service level so that they will commit to do things in a very standard way in a very specific timescale. And secondly, we overlay the current rails through those banks with a tracking service, which is the real key to this. And that enables them, and is built on new technology. It's built with cloud service with APIs to reach the individual banks, and that enables them to build services to their corporates to tell them where their payments are, what's happened to them. And if you give this corporate this new predictable service, they do things differently. Because the two benefits it brings, some very real benefits. One is it takes out friction. Instead of not knowing what's happened to my payment, I know, and if it goes wrong, I know. If it's held up by exchange rate controls, I know. Second thing is, it improves supply chain finance. If you tell me something's uncertain, it could be days. Whereas if you tell me it's predictable, it's just 1 day or maybe 2. And if it goes wrong, I know why. That's a completely different setup, and I plan accordingly. As a corporate, I will plan, or even as an individual, I will plan around a different outcome. And then, of course, it improves supply chain in terms of the actual shipping of goods. My corporate is buying jeans from the Far East, for example, then they get shipped earlier. So not only do I take out friction, I actually improve the underlying supply chain for those corporate clients. And then banks can build new services on top of that to better serve them in terms of cash management, in terms of fee usage, and so on.
So how does the increased competition in the space change in the way that it works?
Well, competition is obviously a spur. Competition is always good for producing innovation and new services, and we welcome it actually. I mean, it's good for the business, and it's good for people to have that level of competition. So it is probably more of a competition to date in the retail space, but obviously that's changing over time, and new entrants find new ways of doing things. So that's all good. That's all partly why we do these things, and it's important.
Very good. So a fast evolving market and one that we shall keep on monitoring.
Indeed.
Thank you for your comments.
Thank you.